Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast, hosted by Bruce Hutchin, and episode number 149.
Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast, where it is all about whitetail deer hunting tips, techniques, and the stories so you can become a more successful whitetail deer hunter. And now your host, Bruce Hutchin.
We're heading over to Ohio and talking with Robert Moose Gendron. Robert, a.k.a. Moose, was born in Montreal, Canada, and the hunting traditions was passed on to him by his grandfather, who owned a country estate about 2 hours north of Montreal, consisting of 200 acres and a big lake, where Robert learned to catch trout, skin a rabbit, and hunt for deer and moose. At the age of 14, Robert's family moved to Ohio, and he kind of lost touch with the outdoors, but fortunately, he had a few great friends that got him back into the outdoors, and he's loved it ever since. Robert says, "I love deer hunting. Gives me time to ponder about my life, and there's nothing better than sitting in the woods, enjoying nature at its best." Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchin, and I'm talking to a guy over in Ohio today, Robert, a.k.a. Moose Gendron, and he's from Ohio, and he's part of the pro staff for Country Camel Outdoors. Rob, or I should say Moose, welcome to the show.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, hey, Rob, now if somebody wants to get a hold of you and has any questions after the show, what's the best way to do that? I think you're up on Facebook. Tell the listeners where to get hold of you on Facebook.
Yeah, just go to Country Camel Outdoors and then just type Moose in your, with your question. I should be able to answer it. I mean, we have a few other, staff members on there. So if you put Moose on there, everybody will know it's for me.
All right, folks. So on Facebook, it's Country Camel Outdoors. Well, I understand that you were born and brought up in Montreal, Canada, and that you hunted quite a bit with your grandfather up there. Is that true?
Yes, sir. He's the one that got me started. We had a country house up there and a few hundred acres, and he definitely he's the one that put the hunting bug, and into my mind. So I've been doing it ever since.
Well, what time of game did you hunt on this land?
Well, we mostly, I was young. I was 10 or 11-ish when I got started with him, and it was mostly rabbit and quail. But as far as I remember, as long as I can remember, he used to go, whitetail and moose hunting up there. So every year, and I definitely enjoyed the moose deer, the moose meat. I mean.
Yeah, that's one thing you said in the warm up, that you really enjoy eating big game. What's your favorite cut of meat off of the venison?
Well, I definitely enjoyed the backstrap. That's definitely one of my favorite parts. The thing I like the most about eating it is just where it came from. You don't have to no additives, and it's just fresh and straight from nature.
Now, do you wrap that up in bacon, or how do you cook them up?
Normally I let it, maybe I'll, put a little marinade. I like it, put a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, and then I'll let it sit for a few hours, and then, I do the bacon thing, and definitely the best way to do it is on the grill.
Then how long do you cook them?
Well, it just depends on how big it is, I believe. I mean, normally I'll try to leave it on there. I don't know. I believe a good 10, 15 minutes at least, and every 5-7 minutes flip it over to see what's up. I like a little bit of pink in the middle, so it's the best way to eat it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. And we talked about your love for hunting, and a big part of it is being outdoors. Share with our listeners what that means to you.
To me, it's just the serenity of being out with nature. I mean, being you have time to reflect about everything, and it's just it's just the serenity of it. That's what I love about it.
Now, do you like hunting in the morning or the evening, or what's your favorite time out there in the tree stand?
For me, it's mostly I really love the morning. I love to watch animals go crazy, the birds wake up, and the sun come up. I mean, to me, that's my favorite part of the day for the hunt. I really enjoy hunting in the afternoon also. I'm not too much of a midday unless, I think the weather's going to be right for it. But morning and, right before the sun goes down, it's normally the time I love to go.
Now, do you call deer or do you vocalize with them at all?
I do a little bit, mostly during the rut. That's pretty much the only time I really vocalize a little bit with them. And really, there's nothing like calling one in and hearing the butt grunts back at you, and then seeing them is even better. But normally when you just stand by yourself for a few hours and you hear one of them, it just definitely gives me goosebumps.
Sure, gets my blood growing. That's for darn sure.
Yeah.
Now, how do you get into your stand in the morning? Talk to us from the time you leave your truck or the ATV. How you stalk your stand so you can have a good opportunity not to bust a buck going in.
Yeah, I just I just get off. Normally, I had to take my 4-wheeler, so we go down there and go down to my buddy's property or wherever I'm hunting, and I'll spray before I even go out, before I leave my house, and then once I get there again, I'll spray again just to make sure I get a good scent cover up and going, and then if it's depending on the sky. There's a lot of clouds or not. If it's really dark, normally I'll use a little red light to try to get to my stand, but I'll try to go in the dark as much as possible. And then I just take my time. That's the main thing. You don't want to make too much noise. Try to make anything move that you wouldn't want to, disturb. And it's kind of hard though, because climbing up to my stand is a little noisy once in a while, but I've spooked them before, but they end up coming back a little later, so it's not guaranteed that you won't see anything even if you make a lot of noise, I believe.
Now, do you like to rifle hunt or archery hunt?
Archery all the way. I mean, here in Ohio, it just let the straight cartridge hunt, rifle wise. But I love the bow hunt. Bow hunt is it's more of a challenge. I just love the more of the primitive side of it also. But yeah, bow is definitely my first choice.
Now tell us about the type of gear you use, your bow, the type of arrows, and the broadheads.
Well, I was using a Matthews, but I just upgraded. My Matthews was like 2 years old, and I decided to go out with a Bear Arena 30. It just seems to be the ticket. To me, for some people, everybody's different, but I really love that. And I'm also using Black Eagle arrows, which is one of our great sponsors. And those arrows, to me, is the straightest flying arrow that I've used yet. So I am not complaining about those arrows at all. For broadheads, I am using the Executioners, another one of our sponsors. And this year is actually my first time using them, and I've had great results. So other than that, I'm using Trophy Ridge for the sights, and it's everything. So far I put that bow together, 3-4 months ago, and it's right on the money. I'm really enjoying that bow.
Hey, great. Thanks for sharing that. Now, what about scent control? Do you use Scent Blocker or Scent Lock or another brand for scent control in your clothing?
To me, I try different stuff. I usually use Scent Blockers. What's that stuff called? Oh, shoot. But I just tried different things. Actually, really here, I got I guess that's the easy one. Scent Killer is mostly what I use. And I really like the scent wafers also, just to put in my clothes bags, just to get that scent in there,
Now, What scent do you use? Do you use like acorn or earth, or what kind of scent do you use?
No, mostly just earth. Just depending where I'm going to hunt. Once in a while I'll go hunt where it's a pine tree farm, so I'll try to, find anything I can find with a little bit of a pine smell to it, but it's mostly, I've used the acorn, which I really liked. Yeah, earth is pretty much the main thing that I use.
Let's talk a minute about a buck that outsmarted you. You had him on a trail cam. He was on your hit list, but you just never could close the deal.
Yeah, I've had one of those last year. Actually, that was the main one. I caught one. It's maybe from what I could see on my trail cam, 14 pointer, and it really got me the bug, give me the bug, and I was really out there almost every day in the afternoon because I got off work at 1:30, so I could go hunt in the afternoons. And I actually managed to see him. He didn't really give me a shot. He stood in front of me for about 15 minutes trying to look around and sniffing, but he did not give me a shot. He ended up leaving, and then a doe came in behind me, and he ended up coming back, but no shot. So it was definitely frustrating. But yeah, I didn't see him this year, so I'm hoping somebody definitely is going to enjoy that one because it was a nice one.
Now, did you get any pictures of him after the time you encountered him?
I think I had one after that, but that was it. But I believe it was before gun season started. So I don't know. I had another one show up this year. It was a really nice buck. Everything I've had was nice pictures, no day pictures, and he was a monster. But didn't get a shot at him either. I've never seen him actually other than the trail cam, but nice pictures only.
Now, how many trail cameras do you have in your setup?
How many?
Yes.
Right now I have two at the place that I mainly hunt. I'm using a spy point, and I have a Moultrie. But my spy point I just bought this year, and I'm really liking that one. So I might have to buy a few more of those.
Now, talk to us about the size of the hunting area. How many acres, and what's the terrain in it?
The acres, the land with Island is about 10 acres, but it is surrounded by about 50 acres of woods, and then I have cornfields surrounding that, and they have about 70 acres of CRP that butts right to it. So it's actually a great spot because you got food and you got your bedding areas, and the terrain is it's kind of hilly a little bit. It's actually a really good spot.
And do you own that land, or is it a friend's? Or
yeah, it's a friend's. I wish I owned some land like that. I have a little bit of land, but it's only for my horses.
How many horses do you have?
We have two. We have two horses. We have five, a little bit about almost 6 acres, and it's a great place to live. It's just not a good hunting area.
Yeah. Now, do you ride with your wife or your kids, or?
I ride with my girlfriend. We go and we take off on weekends. Sometimes go camping and have a good time, but mostly just day ride. Just to go and relax.
Well, you sound like a real cowboy. You sound like you should live out in Colorado where I live.
Hey, if you give me an invitation in the room, I will definitely take you up on that.
Yeah, I imagine so. Hey, let's talk a moment for Larry and Gina Mitchell's Country Camel Outdoors, and share with the listeners why that group is really important to you.
I've known them for a few years, and we all have the same passions, trying to get more veterans, more women and more kids or disabled kids, trying to get them out there, just to keep the tradition going. We have a great team going, and I hope we can influence more people to get into the outdoors. Either whatever it's hunting, camping, four-wheeling, anything outdoors, just to get people out of the house and put their cell phones down once in a while,
Yeah, let's talk about the veteran part of it. How do you find the veterans that you connect with and take them out for an adventure?
Well, mostly right now it's people that I know. It's we're not, we don't. I don't want to say we're not big enough, but we're still growing. So there's plenty of opportunities out there. The people that I've been out with is people that I know that, people that I know, people that I know as friends, or just families like that. It's just a great feeling to be able to take somebody out and make them appreciate nature.
Now, what type of activities do you do with these people?
Well, I know we have last year I was not part of the team yet, but they did that was our first annual fish event where they collected from sponsor donations, fishing rods, and got kids out to fish, and they got certificates. We do little cookouts. Plan on doing it again this year, which I'm glad to be part of that also. Right now, that's pretty much the only thing. We're trying to raise more money so we can actually do more, with veterans, kids, or women, just like I said, just to get them out. Now, when you look at, the kids, let's talk about youth today. What would you say to moms and dads right now on the show to get them motivated to get their kids outdoors? Yeah, get them involved in anything outdoors. Either it's cleaning the barn or anything, you know what I mean? Right now it's the way that our society is with our phones and computers and TVs. It's just bad for people. I mean, we weren't meant to just sit and do nothing. We're meant to travel and enjoy the outdoors as much as possible. And that's the way I see it. It's just get your kids out, get them going. Especially give them a bow. You get them a bow, and they'll never have money for drugs. They'll just be spending their money on anything for shooting their bows. You know what I mean? It's just, to me, that's the main thing. Is just be outside.
When you think about hunting whitetail, what kind of lessons learned would you like to share with our listeners?
The main thing for me is patience. I mean, if you don't have patience, hunting is just not going to be an adventure or any fun for you. You have to be patient, and make sure you enjoy nature. That's my biggest thing. Patience.
So when I know in your bio you just said you really like to be out there and ponder and think about things in your life. Let's talk about the other things that you think about when you're out in the tree stand.
Oh man, things like ponder about life, about what could have been, what it should be. That's things that's going on right now. I mean, when you're hunting, you have so much stuff to think about and try to improve. While you're actually just sitting there by yourself and thinking about it.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people, they really get into hunting, but all of a sudden they realize that, just being out and observing nature is sometimes an adventure in itself, because we all know how many hours we have to put in to, just get a shot.
Yeah, a lot of hours.
A lot of hours to get a shot. We might see deer every time we go out, either close at hand or near our stands. But it's a big part of our life that we spend, and it's a great time. And if you don't do it a lot, do it as much as you can. That's my motto. Get out and hunt as much as you can. Any
chance you get out there. You're not gonna see anything from the couch. I mean, I guess you might, but to me, I'm not going to see anything from the couch. I have to get out there. Even if you don't see anything, the beauty of nature, birds, I've seen, rabbits, I've seen groundhogs, just being out there and seeing something just motivates you even more, even if it's not a deer or whatever you're hunting for.
when you think about, last year in hunting, what were a couple of things that you just couldn't figure out, and you said, boy, I wish I knew how to do X. What would that be?
Well, are you talking about actually being in the woods or just anything about hunting?
No. Yeah, just, being in the woods and hunting. So anything along the line of hunting, what do you need help with?
Well, everybody needs a lot of help. Nobody knows everything. But for me, I would say probably reading the topography of the land, where like the bedding areas and the way that deer actually would, I would say, travel through the land. I guess that has a lot to do with a good spot. And that's sometimes you think for people like, yeah, this would be a great place, but really, actually for a deer, it's not a good place at all, So if I could actually learn to read that better, I believe that that would make anybody a better hunter.
Well, I know some guys that use Google Earth, and they'll find the pinch points in the funnels and they'll figure it out. And, everybody knows that dips or saddles, we call them saddles out west, but, dips in the topography where it's easy for deer to travel, that typically we find, trails, scrapes in those places. Do you find that to be true?
Yeah, I mean, I found plenty of those. It's just that, the area that I'm at the spot that I have is a great spot, but it's just, it seems like it changes every year. It's not, for some reason, it's not, like last year was better at a different spot than it was this year. So, I put my trail cams up and try to study them all year round, but it was just, like I said, just a weird the way that the land is where that's where I'm hunting, you know what I mean?
Sure. Hey, well, Moose, we're at the point of the show that you got a couple of minutes just to give a shout out to Jenner and Larry or any of your sponsors. I know you mentioned a couple of the sponsors along the way, but take a minute or two and give a shout out to the people who support you and Country Camel Outdoors.
Yes. Well, first I want to give a big shout out to my girlfriend. She understands what I'm trying to do, and she's not complaining a whole lot. I spend a lot of time in the woods, and she believes actually she goes out there with me once in a while, but not as much as she would like. I want to give a big shout out to Gina and Larry for giving me the opportunity to help, the people that are trying to advance, the kids, the women. Hopefully we can make a what's that word I'm looking for? Brain fart, sorry. Help some people out anyways. I've done a big shout out to all our sponsors for helping us out. We have a lot, so I don't know if I can name them all. I know we have Ultra Pro X-Stands, Black Eagle arrows, 9mm Mommy. I mean, we have a lot of sponsors. I can't think of all of them right now.
That's okay.
I mean, that's helping women and kids mostly for me. I mean, I love to help vets. A lot of vets have, held a gun before, but never enjoyed the opportunity to go in the woods and appreciate nature, in its relaxed form instead of under gunfire or anything like that. So to me, just helping people out is the best feeling in the world.
Well, Robert, on behalf of Whitetail Rendezvous, I want to say thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to share some stories, some insights about whitetail deer, about Country Camel Outdoors, and it was a pleasure visiting with you today, and you just have a good day, sir.
All right, Bruce, I appreciate it. Thank you.
As your host at Whitetail Rendezvous, I want to thank each and every one of you for spending your time with us today. I look forward to sharing with you in the next episode more whitetail hunting tips, techniques, and stories. Until then, keep the sun at your back, the wind in your face, and always be patient.
If you have any tips, comments, or suggestions, or what we can do to improve, because we're here to serve you, let us know. Thanks for listening to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast at www.whitetailrendezvous.com.